This is a quick guide on how to change the coolant on a Suzuki Hayabusa Gen 2. So this here is the Gen 2, but the Gen 1 is the same. The only main difference is the expansion bottles on the left hand side on the Generation 1 prior to 2007. Everything else here should apply exactly the same between the Gen 1 and 2. So the first thing you should be doing is removing the left hand side fairing and the right hand side fairing. You will need both sides off. Then you want to take a Phillips screwdriver to the Jubilee clip on the end of that hose that I've removed and drain all the old coolant out. You then want to pop that hose back on for the next step. The next thing I'm going to do is remove the bottom pipe leading into the expansion bottle and drain all the old coolant out the expansion bottle. Then I've got a pint of just regular plain old tap water and I pour that into the expansion bottle. What I'm doing there is just getting all the old gunk out of the expansion bottle because it was all crudded up. I'm guessing the coolant system on this bike hasn't been changed for quite a few years, so if you notice the bottom of your expansion bottle's a little bit gummed up, you might want to just pour a bit of kettle water into there and just drain all that gunk out of there, because it can't be doing your cooling systems too many favours. Next step after this is to pour distilled water or deionized water into your coolant system via the main filling cap. You should be able to get around 2 to 2.5 litres in, so if you're struggling to get 2 litres in, give the bike a little shake from side to side. Get it right full up to the neck with at least 2 litres of distilled or deionized water. This stuff here is about £3 from Tesco's. Shouldn't cost you much, very inexpensive. Fill it up. Start the bike for around 30 to 45 seconds. Give it a few blips on the throttle. No more than 3,000 RPMs really required. Just enough to get the water pump spinning, circulating all that deionized water around the coolant system to drain all the old coolant out. Then what you want to do is just head back around to the other side of the bike, get back down to that bottom hose again and pull it off, drain all that distilled or deionized water out, and then repeat the process as many times as you feel necessary. One thing to be careful is make sure the bike's not too hot. Feel the hoses. If they feel really hot, just be mindful when you take that bottom hose off, you might end up burning yourself, and you don't really want to be taking the bottom hose off if the distilled or deionized water is really hot. Just wait, let it cool down until it's lukewarm and then drain it out. You don't want any sort of rapid cooling of the system, shrinking of any aluminium parts. Just let it all cool down naturally and let it drain out when it's lukewarm. If you're starting the bike up for 45 seconds to a minute, you shouldn't have that problem anyway. So I repeated this process twice with the deionized water, and then after that you want to put that bottom hose back on, tighten it up properly this time, push it right the way up. When you're pushing the hose back onto the water pump, you should notice a little tab sticking out. Push the hose right up to that tab and then give the Jubilee clip a tighten up with the Phillips screwdriver again, not too tight, and then begin filling up with your fresh coolant. What I'm using here is it's Motor Cool Hybrid, so it's an ethylene glycol 50-50 mixture with distilled water, I believe. It doesn't say anywhere on the bottle it's distilled water, but I'm assuming it is, and distilled water is what's recommended by Suzuki. So fill up, you should get at least 2 litres in initially, and then just shake the bike side to side. You should get a little bit more in again. Then you might find you're getting stuck at about the 2.2 to 2.5 litre mark. Then what you want to do is just start the bike up again, rock it side to side, forward and backwards, and give the throttle a few blips again, and then just check, see if you can get any more in. If you can't, put the filler cap back on and then just let the bike run up to temperature, let the fans kick in. At this point you should just have the expansion bottle with the lid off, and then just let the engine run, get it right up to temperature, switch it off. Then you're going to want to just let the bike cool down for around 45 minutes, come back, take the filler cap off, see if the levels went down at all. If it hasn't, great, it's probably full. Depending on how well you flush the system out, you might only get 2.2 to 2.5 litres of coolant in there. And then you're just going to want to top off your expansion bottle. The full and the low level are actually innermost, so you'll have to sort of peek round the back of the bottle to check the low and the full level. So you just want to top it up to just sort of around the full mark, maybe just below, and then at that point you're pretty much done. All you want to do now is just monitor your coolant, monitor your temperature gauge as you're riding your bike. One of the main issues with this particular bike is it's difficult to actually check your fluid levels once you've put the fairing back on. So if you're unsure, try just starting the bike back up again, rock it from side to side like I'm doing there. Just give all the hoses a squeeze, just trying to get any air out of the system. And once you're quite confident you've filled the bike up fully, then it might be worth popping your expansion bottle cap back on, doing up the fairing, and that should be the job done. And I'm just going to leave some tips on the screen at the end there, just anything I think that's worth highlighting, do's and don'ts. And that concludes the video. Thanks for watching.